All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Swords. As always, I'm Andrew.
And I'm already disappointed in the level of
Professionalism.
here. You see, you guys don't see, like, we hit record
Yeah.
and it's just good. It's golden.
And,
You don't see the before.
I cut off the bit where you walk from the camera, sit down. Maybe that should be the intro now.
Sort of more of a glide.
Maybe I should
It's
just
sort of
have
more
the
of
theme
a-
music playing over that and then it fades into the
You know
episode.
what? I wouldn't be against that at all. Can we
Yeah.
try that for an episode? I'm not
I'll
against
see if
that.
I can manage it.
I'm not against that at all.
I like the idea of it. I've got it fading so far, like it fades from the logo into us sitting here. But I haven't done that with the audio.
If we start doing that, I will start wearing tighter jeans because I want to give that backside a little something, you know?
Yeah.
I want to give the people what they want.
Start wearing those Kylie Minogue pants.
Mate, I should get some hot pants.
Mate, that was my teenage years, you know.
In hot pants.
Yeah. How long ago was that now?
Kylie Minogue?
Yeah.
What, like spinning around and all that?
Yeah.
2003.
Wow.
It's
Is that actually
20 years.
2003? Or have you
I mean,
just plucked that
I could
number
Google
out?
it, but that's my recollection of it.
I'm Googling it. You better
I think
have it.
it's 2003.
Was it Spinning Round? Is that the song?
Yeah.
Spinning Round. It's supposed to be Padding, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Uh,
My ego just thought I'll sit back and wait for me to be proven right. No, I don't know.
How do I find it?
Just tell you if you just Google the song. Just Kylie Minogue spinning around, it'll tell you.
I'm really struggling.
Have you ever used Google?
I have,
Like,
but for once, the answer's just
You're
not
meant to
like
be the
right
tech
at the
guy.
top. When was Spinning Round?
this is just
When was released? I've not even spelt released right.
I'm-
2000.
2000. Oh, damn it.
You weren't far. I'm quite impressed with that.
Oh, a million
That's
miles.
not bad. It's not bad. But yeah, that's good stuff.
I wouldn't get my t-shirt though, would I?
What
Wouldn't get my 1 year out t-shirt on Pop Master.
On what master?
Pop Master.
What's Pop Master?
A long-running Radio 2, or no longer Radio 2. Ken Bruce has taken it with him to Greatest Hits.
If you say so.
It's just a quiz show for like really kind of quite obscure music quiz,
Right.
and part of it they do a guess the year,
Okay.
and they say three. You know, in which year were these the top 3 hits, or were these all top 3 hits? You know, and you've got to guess the year. And I wouldn't have got my 1 year out. Do you know how often though I am 1 year out?
Yeah.
Frequently, very frequently.
So you would get the shirt, is what you're saying.
I'd get the shirt.
So you just found a way to turn this into a not so humble brag.
Yeah, I guess the not so humble brag is I'm not got a great success rate of getting it bang on.
No. But
It's
you're
all right.
nearly
It's
there.
all right. It's all right. I'll get a few.
I think it's like most areas of your life, isn't it? It's like you're not perfect, but you're close.
Yeah.
You get in there.
You know, that's where the humility comes in.
Yeah.
You know, to admit that
You're
I'm
at least
not
able
quite
to
perfect.
say that.
There's growing room.
Yeah.
There's growing room. Much like in my
Not
trousers,
in
there is
summer.
always growing room.
It's not what I've heard.
Not in the hot pants.
I've heard it's a grower and a shower.
Not listen, not in the hot pants. In the hot pants,
Everyone can
it is
see
what it is. Do you know what I mean? if it gets bigger,
Are you tucking it in? Or are
we're
you
going to
letting
have to
it-
move house. Do you know what I'm saying? We're going to have to.
I mean, just logistically, it's a nightmare.
It is.
Yeah. What were you talking about before I mentioned the hot pants?
No, you brought up Kylie Minogue.
I know we were talking about the intro, fading it in. You wanted to start
Oh,
wearing
I was going to just
form-fitting clothing.
because if I'm walking away from the camera, just want to give something a little.
Yeah. But not too in your face.
What I'll do is I'll get progressively more provocative.
Yeah, but for the love of God, don't wear any horns.
What, never?
Never.
Is that a bad look?
Not unless you want to be linked with satanic worship.
I think satanic worship probably wants to be linked with this arse.
You sure?
Do you know what? Weirdly, I think that might be the most arrogant claim I've ever made.
Yeah.
It's got to be up there.
Yeah.
That my arse is so good that an entire group of devil worshippers
Would be into it.
would be interested in also worshipping my arse. I'm comparing my arse to the devil.
Yeah.
But listen, we've said it before. If it's Tom Ellis's devil,
That's a different kind of Guns N'
The good
Roses
looking-
song, isn't it? Comparing my ass to the devil. No sympathy for the devil for those out there who were unable to pick up on the subtle joke.
I absolutely, I think that's probably quite a bold claim, isn't it?
Mm. You definitely don't have as good an ass as Tom Ellis.
No, do you know what? Since losing a bit of weight, my arse isn't as good as it was.
Really?
Yeah.
What, has it gone a bit flat?
I used to have a little dump in the trunk.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
A little bit to grab
A
onto.
little bit of something, yeah.
That when you were giving it large, they could
Yes.
both hand it.
And really
But there was something
take
to
control,
hold
you know.
But now, what's happening, Jake? Like, it's just,
You
their
know.
hands slipping off.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes they can't even find it.
Yeah. Do the Speedo still fit right?
Mate, the Speedos fit better than they ever have. I
Really?
was so shocked when I found them. I was like, obviously I'm going
How
to try
long
them on.
after finding them did you decide to try them on?
Seconds. If
Really?
that, seconds.
But like, did you follow through on it immediately? Was it, I'll do that later when I'm getting changed? Or
Nope, there and then.
you just
It was,
stripped down
so
naked?
it was the end of a day, and I was getting ready to go to bed.
How
and
did you find, like...
I can't remember. No. So I thought to look for them. They'd come up in conversation,
Right.
and it suddenly occurred to me. I was like, oh, I should have a little look for them. I wonder if I still got them. I open up the drawer, rifle around. There they are. I'm like, obviously I'm going to try them
That's
on.
the moment.
Obviously I'm going to try them on.
That's the moment you really don't want anyone else to walk in. That's
My
like the
bedroom.
worst possible.
You think?
Just you in your Speedos. Because
And
how
the-
would you
and the butler
explain
walks
that?
in.
How would you explain that?
How would I explain that?
Yeah.
Well, that's not even them like the worst. It's me in the mirror, just sort of looking at myself, posing,
Have
and
you
kind of
ever
being
seen
like
The Parent Trap?
the parent trap, the Lindsay
The
Lohan
Lindsay
one.
Lohan one, yeah. The
Yeah.
other one's shit. The Lindsay Lohan one, I don't know if you'll remember it, because I don't know how many times you've watched it.
Probably once.
There's a scene where the butler's in a pair of Speedos, and I imagine that being exactly like, because he was hairy as fuck, and
I didn't know.
that's the image I have in my head.
I kind of posed in the mirror and was like, "Do you know what? I look pretty good." I was like, "I
Do
look
you
pretty fucking good."
manscape?
I have done,
Okay, but it's not something you partake in.
not regularly.
Right. Okay.
No, I don't have the effort. In all honesty,
No, I can believe that. I don't know. For me, that was a coin flip one with you. It's not something we've ever talked about in terms
no,
of.
do you manscape?
No, not at all. Not at
No.
all. I did it once. I shaved the whole lot, and I felt like I was a 5-year-old again. Didn't like it, and then the itchiness afterwards, I was like, "Nah, I'm alright."
Yeah, I didn't mind it when it got to there was like a little bit of a little bit stubble past the itchy stage,
Yeah,
and I was like, actually, this looks all right, and the way it grows,
bit like a dirty beard on a face.
yeah,
It's sort
and
of,
do you know what? The way it grows, it almost adds definition, like where I haven't got any.
and it's not long enough to make anything look smaller.
No, I
Yeah.
mean you know we all know that
You
trick.
don't have a problem with that anyway.
Nope, too small.
But
Not an issue.
if you're sending a dick pic out, which we know you're partial to now, would you trim ahead of a dick pic, or would you just, however
I'd
you
like
happen to be at the time?
I'd like to have been prepared, but the
Right.
truth is, it's not in me. Do you know what I mean? That's immediately what you've done is you've said, you know that task you were going to do, sending the picture.
Yeah.
Here's another task before it, and immediately my brain's just like,
gotta
that's
do
too many
admin.
tasks. I'm not doing it.
You got to do admin.
Yeah, that's too much shit. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Would you fully shave now?
Would I thought what might?
Would you do it now? Like fully shave it all off?
When you say it,
Would you shave your nevers?
I have done.
No, but I'm saying like now, would you do it?
I mean, I might wait till the pod's over.
That's a shame. I've got a razor
mean,
under the table.
I do feel like YouTube has some pretty strict,
They don't have to see anything. They
pretty
can just.
strict.
I think it would
Even
add to the
TikTok.
tension just hearing.
TikTok would be worse because I feel like just the idea of these Chinese agents
Imagine
sitting
if the
round.
conversation didn't stop either. You're just sat there, just one
Morning,
hand
mate.
under the table, and we're just chatting
And I said
away.
it to you before. It was like the most awkward. The one time I've had a shower after football.
Right.
It's not
Do you
my.
not
It's
normally
not my.
shower after football?
Not at the club. I like to go home and shower.
Right. Okay. I thought you just
I'm
meant
still-
in general.
I'm still not quite there where I'm like, let's all get naked and stand in the
mate,
shower
there
together,
is
right?
no way I'd be getting my dick out in front of other
And there's
people.
one guy in the team.
It's not fair on them.
He was just way too. He's like standing there, you know, quite close.
Yeah, but was he swinging dick?
He's swinging dick.
Of course he is. Was he hung? Is what I'm asking.
He was all right, you know. It was all right,
Okay.
and he's just standing there, hanging out, just chatting about like boilers or whatever he's talking about. I'm like, mate, we need to put some pants on before we have this chat.
What's his background? Because I would bet money he's either like been around sports a while or was brought up middle class, if not higher.
No, not middle class.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, it was just a bit like he's like, because he's standing there, he's like, all right, what kind of boiler is it you have? And it's just like, mate, this is.
Who the fuck knows the answer to that question? Actually, I know mine. Now I say that, but that's only because ours we have to repressure it so often. I've just sat staring at it enough that
You know,
I know
you've
what
committed
it
it to
is.
memory.
yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit like, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
No, but it's a bit like when you go to the gym. There's always one old guy that's just got
Or just
an
hanging loose.
yeah,
Hanging
but
loose.
like hasn't got
Wrecking
anything
balls.
hanging. Do you know what I mean? But like, other than his testicles, There's
Just
nothing
testicles, yeah. No,
Yeah.
just testicles
just
down
letting
by
it
his
all hang
knees.
out. They've just gone. Do you know what? No one gives a shit about me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an assault. Honestly, I think what that man did to you was inappropriate and not nice.
Yeah,
you
it was a
couldn't
bit
do
weird.
it anywhere else. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it'd be a bit weird
Like
if
if he
sat
came
up
up
to me
to you at the
naked.
pub
Yeah.
and just got his cock out next to you and started talking to you about boilers, there'd be a problem.
I'd question the pubs I'm visiting.
I don't know. It just seems to happen a lot.
There's some
wherever
rough
I go.
ones. Yeah, I've told you. If you don't want me to keep getting out of the pub, just say the word
I can't do it.
and I'll hide it. I won't sort of getting it out.
But you'll try and disguise it.
Yeah, I'll put a little fake moustache on it.
Or camouflage paint.
Put a little puppet.
A little puppet.
Little sock puppet.
Just a little one.
Well, to start with.
Mm.
And then it'll get, it's the happier the puppet. I've thought too much about this.
What puppet would you have now?
What puppet would I have now?
Yeah, what would you choose?
I feel like any of them would be inappropriate. It would have to be an original puppet.
Right.
You couldn't appropriate a kid's
so
puppet.
not like Ahmed the Dead Terrorist or...
No, no.
Okay.
No. What would you have?
I
If you had
wouldn't
to
do
put a puppet on your dick?
Sooty.
Sooty.
Is it Sooty from that
Yeah.
show when we were kids?
Sooty and Sweep.
Yeah.
You put Sooty.
Yeah.
The silent one.
Mm-hmm.
So your penis is just goes under the radar. You don't want it making any noise.
They call it the silent assassin.
It's close to what I've heard them call it.
Yeah.
It's very close.
Yeah. I'm in and out before you know it. Do you know what I mean? All of a sudden, damage has been done.
Bam! Pregnant.
Exactly.
Didn't even know it.
Do you know what I mean?
Didn't even know they'd had sex.
No.
9 months later.
One time I met a single mother. We had sex. I fucked her so hard. The kid she already had was mine. It's fact.
I believe it. I don't need to check that at all.
No.
I believe that the science backs that.
And I do nothing for that child. It's dead to me. It's all right, guys. The kid's not real, so it's fine.
What? You killed the kid?
No, the mum did.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that.
Nope.
Can't argue with that.
That's why I broke up with her.
She knew you weren't coming round while he was there, so she offed him to get you to come back round.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I've thought too much about this.
Mm.
Should we
Did
move?
yeah, I think we should move
I was wondering how long you'd go with that.
on. I was about to say something that I shouldn't. So I thought,
Oh
let's
no!
move
Why did I
on.
stop it? Fool.
So quick change of pace. I don't know. We haven't got anything. We don't know what each other want to talk about today. So I'm just going to suddenly change subject for the sake of both of us. Why do people hate Sam Smith?
Okay, yeah, because he's queer.
Yeah.
Like, I think genuinely that's all. And
Yeah.
and he's not
There.
a conventionally. Sorry. They are not a conventionally attractive pop star.
Look,
do you know what I mean?
they're
Like,
chubby. They've got
Yeah.
a bit of junk in the trunk. They're the sort of
They've got a
shape
normal
that
body.
you wouldn't associate with wearing the sort of stuff.
they've got a normal body,
Sam
and
does.
traditionally pop stars have six packs,
Yes.
and they're queer.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's all it comes down
Yeah,
to.
I agree. But like, why are they being accused of satanic worship? Because like me and Leanne talked. She asked me what I
Was
thought
that
about
the
other night.
unholy thing
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
did
being-
with Kim Petras?
I don't know who they did it with, but it was a recent show, and like I just said to Leanne, I was like, if anything, I kind of admire it because I'm like to look like that because as we've said, they're chubby, they're not exactly in great shape,
And have the body confidence.
but yeah, exactly to have the confidence to go on stage in front of thousands of people, I think that's a good thing personally.
Listen, me standing in front of my mirror
Yeah.
in my Speedos going, hey, you look good, is so different than going on a
Going out on
stage,
stage and
at
doing
the
that.
MTV
Yeah.
Awards or the Brits or whatever
Mm.
and doing that.
Yeah, and like I've seen that people have apparently complained that there wasn't an advanced warning for people to say that there's going to be graphic content
There never
at
is.
the show. But no, exactly. And I said I said to Leanne, like, what this comes down to for me is one, they're queer, but the other problem is they're not a woman. If it was a female artist, no one would have batted an eyelid. If it was Lady Gaga, Rihanna,
They talk about
Beyonce,
caring
no one
about,
gives
like,
a fuck.
The fact is, a lot of these female artists are in skimpy outfits doing sexual dances in
And
their
no one
videos
bats
at
an eye.
17, 16.
Yeah. The only valid
Nothing.
argument, like the answer to me, I still think people would complain. I said, I think you're right, because like if someone like Lizzo did that, and like when you've had people like Rihanna do Britain's Got Talent and it's been a raunchy show, people do complain about that sort of stuff.
But not
But
nearly
not
to the level. And
exactly.
and also, Lizzo did get some complaints for doing that recently
Exactly.
as well. And it was like,
So that's
what's
my
the difference
point.
there?
Like, I think there are people that
she's-
get wound up by this shit, but not to the level
she's
they're
not
making
skinny.
out.
That's the difference.
Yeah, that's it.
What did you... Oh, well, no.
I
we'll
think
stick
it
with
makes
this,
people uncomfortable because
we're raging homophobes in this country.
that, and I think for other people that aren't homophobes, I think they look at that, and especially if they're not confident in their own bodies, they're projecting their shit onto stage.
Yeah, I
And
think
being
you're
like,
probably
if
right.
I was in their shoes, there's no way I'd wear that going on stage.
I think you're probably right.
That might be a bit naive. I like to think that's the majority of what it is, and that it's the papers trying to, as usual,
But I'd say, no,
make
when I
us
was
fight
like...
over Sam Smith.
You know, we're talking about... Oh, also, they're talking about, like, this, you know, never used to happen and whatever else. And it's like, do you not remember, you know, even back in, like, the 80s when music videos first became a thing,
Mm.
and there was some unbelievably raunchy shit. And, like, the Puritans were
Yeah.
complaining, but as a whole, people weren't really kicking up as much of a stink from what I've seen, sort of done some research. And then there was only a spattering of complaints when Freddie Mercury and Queen did the Want to Break Free video when they all cross-dressed. Again, there was only a smattering of
Yeah, and if
complaints.
anything, that's probably one of their most famous videos, isn't it? It's one of their most
It's a
acclaimed.
great video.
It is. It's phenomenal.
But you look at now and it's like...
And that raises an interesting question. Why do some gay people make it through
Why are they okay?
and others aren't? And I don't know what that line is. I think for Sam Smith, what it is that they're also non-binary.
And it confuses people.
Exactly. And then because they go on television, and like the one that I keep seeing people complain about was the fish of them thing.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. And also...
And so you can tell from his smirk, so did he. That's why he said it again.
And not for one moment did Sam lambast anyone, say to him, you're using the wrong pronoun. Just got
what I saw was, they made a joke,
yeah,
the fish of them joke,
yeah.
little smirk.
I didn't take it seriously.
It didn't get picked up, like it was on the One Show, wasn't it? And it didn't get picked up. So they said it again. And that was it.
Yeah.
It was like, if I
But
made a
it
good
boiled
joke,
so much piss.
if I made a joke that I was really proud of, and no one even got it,
yeah,
absolutely, I'd be like, I don't think they heard me. I better make it clearer.
yeah, that's exactly how I saw it.
Yeah.
Do you know who Steve Allen is? Have we talked about this?
LBC Steve Allen.
Yeah. Oh, was
But
LBC.
yes, sorry,
Steve Allen.
talk radio host Steve Allen.
Yeah. It was a little bit ago. It must have been a couple of months ago now, and I think it was just after the fish of them moment. And Steve Allen's famous for doesn't take any calls, rarely does interviews, just sits there and rants about the news of the day to a mic, and successfully, a lot of people listened. And basically went on air, and this wasn't a subject Steve had forced on him. It wasn't one that he was surprised by. He chose to sit there and talk about it, and basically said, if you keep having Sam Smith on anything, you're going to fall foul. So the simple answer is to not have him on anything or have them on anything, and refused on air to say, I'm not going to gender Sam how they'd like to be gendered. I'm just going to call him he.
It's a bit of a dick move, isn't it?
And then basically within a week was gone. So what I reckon happened was he said what he said, was asked politely that you need to go back on there and apologise for what you said, and he's gone no. They've got rid of him.
And yet to those...
and this is a gay man as well.
Yeah, and yet to those sort of raging particularly with the gender, because obviously, like you said, he's non-binary.
Yeah.
So particularly with the kind of, as it's sort of been dubbed the gender critical movement, they'd have all been hailing him as a hero for standing up, not bowing to the pressure of
and people say
society.
they're never going to listen to LBC again because they only listened for Steve and all of that.
Yeah, it is a dick move. Like, I think I've said it, talked about it before. I went to a place where there were a couple of non-binary people working, and one of the things they said was like, look, here we kind of everyone does it differently, and a lot of people don't like it addressed, But they were like, look, here, our sort of general policy is ask someone before you start using their pronouns, just ask them. And you do make mistakes. And I made loads of mistakes. There was a non-binary person there, born female. And I quite a couple of times, I was like, her, she.
Yeah.
But you catch yourself and you're like, or even if you don't, someone says.
Was it to them or in reference?
Once, well, none of it was directly to them, but it was, they were in the room standing next to me for a couple of them. And it was corrected, not by them, but by another colleague of theirs who just went, they, and I just sort of went, shit, yeah, sorry. You don't make that's, and obviously it's each individual person. I'm only talking about 2 specific non-binary people.
Yeah.
But for them, they don't want you to make a big deal out of it and over the top be like, oh, I'm so sorry, please.
No.
They just want you to go, my bad,
and
acknowledge it and try again. But they completely, they know that mistakes happen.
From what I've seen and what I've heard and experienced, people that tend to be non-binary are very understanding about it, and I think because they understand that it's not new to them or to anyone that's going, but it's new to society, so they need to be understanding that people are going to fuck up. I don't think it's a malicious thing, but we're changing something that we've been taught since a young age, something that's ingrained in all of us. And it's when I hear someone, like even when you've done it on this podcast and I've done it as well, it's not malicious. It's not. There's no intent behind it. It's just a slip of the tongue.
Sam Smith.
Yes, we both did it.
Yeah.
And it's very easily done.
It's amazing how quickly you do adjust, though.
Yeah,
and it doesn't take a lot of effort.
No.
You just sort of commit yourself to go, okay, I'm not... Because the thing is, once someone says they and you start using it a few times, it kind of seeps in. So for you to not use they, it's a deliberate choice. You've got to actively want to... You've got to keep trying to not.
Yeah. And it's difficult because we've been taught a certain way. Like in my head, I have to think about how I'm structuring a sentence when talking about someone like Sam Smith or anyone non-binary, because I just want... and it is difficult because instantly your head goes, what do they look like? And you apply it, don't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think everyone needs to be a bit forgiving when people slip up, I think.
It's coming. But it does, it really is a matter of if you don't want to, if you're not trying to be a dick, you're all right.
And also there's just not that many non-binary people for us to all be interacting with and get used to it. There's still a very small percentage.
Gender non-conforming people made up less than 1% of the population at the last census.
That's a very small amount of people.
So the chances that you're going to bump into one
is low.
Well, I suppose the chance that you bump into one are maybe a bit higher, but the chances that you'll interact with one
is low.
Is lower. Yeah, it is lower. But they're just... I think it just... I know this is like a really oversimplification on the whole issue, but they're people. Let's treat them like people. Yeah. But just... circling back to the Sam Smith thing, it's 100% fat phobia, queer phobia. Yeah, 100%. And I can't see it any other way. No. I'm more than happy for someone to come on and try and convince me that it's something else. But whenever I've sat down and listened to arguments, even quite well structured arguments, it just screams internalised homophobia. Because there's a lot of internalised homophobia that people don't even know that they have. No. And addressing, I have internalised homophobia. Yeah. 100%.
Well, everyone does.
But I am trying to just be aware of it.
Look, we all have internalised everything, we all have prejudices, we all have moments of racism, whether we say it out loud or not. We all have, we all do that. And I can't remember who it was I was listening to, but they said the point isn't being
perfect,
not being racist. It's about being anti-racist, because everyone is racist. It's just about checking yourself in those moments.
It's being aware.
And being more self-aware.
Being aware.
But no, I agree with you. And like with the Sam Smith thing, I don't know, like I find it quite disappointing when you see certain people's opinions, like people just, like there was a double whammy. I saw someone respond to a tweet from Andrew Tate about it, calling it like satanic worship, and then that person just said Sam Smith's a twat, and I was like, what? I'd love to know what their actual reasoning is behind that, like what they think the reason is that they hate Sam Smith.
Yeah. And I think the unholy thing as well, because I didn't know this, because basically I'm like you. Please don't take this the wrong way. Yeah. Like you.
I think it's a tune, by the way. No.
In terms of popular culture, we are now old. We are. Okay, and we don't know new things or new people.
Honestly, my music list has not updated at all, really.
So I didn't realise until like the song had been out for like a year or something that duet that he did with Kim Petras, she is a trans woman.
Right. Okay.
She was like the youngest person
From
ever.
male to
Yeah, she was like the youngest person ever to transition in Germany or Austria. She's one.
oh wow. Okay.
She's that part of the world. This is going to be a bit racist. They're very similar to me. They're very,
Western European,
middle, really.
Central European.
Central European,
Yeah.
yeah, Central European. But and so when I found that out, I kind of went, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
A trans woman and a non-binary person linking up on a track that says unholy.
Yeah.
Fuck, come
I
on.
thought it was quite a
And
good
then
song,
gets,
to be honest.
and then dressed really provocatively in the video.
Yeah.
Of course, people are outraged.
Yeah.
Of course, people are outraged. It's like double queerphobia.
There's two of them.
This is two of them. They're doubling.
Yeah.
There's not a single straight person in that video. Not
What-
straight, but
What do you think of the
there's not a single
like while we're on the
cisgender
trans
person in that
subject?
video.
And I wasn't intending to talk about this at all, but one of the things I hear people talk about online is that like they're afraid of like if their kids are exposed to trans people or gay people or whatever it might be, that it somehow increases the chances of their child being trans.
I want to cut this out and attack it. If I may just monologue for a minute.
Please do.
I want to cut this out early doors because we
Should I get the applause button ready?
Yes. You do hear a lot of this. Okay, this whole thing of the transphobia currently saying, or my kids are exposed to sort of gender nonconformity, they're going to gender nonconform. And this is exactly the same argument that we were hearing in the 80s over gay people. This is exactly, during the AIDS pandemic, this is exactly the same argument we were hearing. Well, if my children are seeing gay people, and this is why Section 28 was introduced, and it's like, well, if my kids are aware of gay people, suddenly they'll become gay. No, let's just say this now. If your kids are gay or trans or gender non-conforming, they are gay or trans or gender non-conforming.
Yeah.
All you're doing is making them aware and making them aware that other people exist like them. And in doing that, they can suddenly address it. Otherwise, they are going to be repressed. They are going to be depressed. And they are going to live a life in, being someone that they are not. Being someone that they are not. And all we are doing in teaching people that gay people and gender non-conforming people exist
to be those things.
is just showing that you are not weird.
No, there's nothing wrong with
You are not on your own. We are not making them gay. If your child is gay, your child is gay.
Yeah.
There is nothing
you can do
that you can do about that.
No.
Even if you try and hide it and block their eyes and they never see another gay person in their life, they will still have sexual feelings towards the same gender.
Yeah.
They will just have no idea why or where it came from.
Yeah. And have no way to deal with it in any way.
Yeah.
No.
That's it. That's
good.
my
I even had a bit
new.
of emotion
It's
in
nothing.
the voice
It's
at one stage there.
It genuinely makes me angry
Yeah.
because it is exactly the same language that we're seeing that was used in the, and it's that same thing about, when people talk about racism in America, and you talk about, but it's exactly the same language that we saw used, and yet right now we all sit here and we all, generally speaking, acknowledge that was a bad part of our history and that we got that wrong. We were on the wrong side of history then, condemning, and we were on the wrong side of history saying, well, if we expose people to gay people or that gay people are trying to turn our kids, we accept, for the most part, we've reached a point where we accept that we were wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like the racism in America where we look back and we all accept that generally the language that was being used then and the practices that were being used then
Was
were
disgusting.
wrong.
Yeah.
But now it's just been recycled and it's just been named, and it's exactly the same language, it's exactly the same rhetoric, and it just annoys me so much that how can we all sit here? Like I said, it's not. Some people still think it's fine, but how can most people sit there and go, yeah, that was wrong, but this is the same thing?
Yeah.
How can you not see that? It does kind of annoy me.
It feels like that with most things, though, doesn't it? That we just recycle, rinse,
It must
repeat.
be for the Generation X or whatever they were.
Oh, I don't even know
baby boomers.
I don't even know what I was.
Boomers,
I was just a
whatever they
90s baby, would I be?
You're a millennial.
I'm a millennial.
You're a millennial.
Right.
You're a millennial. I just think
What comes after? Is it Z?
yeah.
Right. Okay.
They must be exhausted that they lived through it, they campaigned through it.
Yeah.
Now they're watching it happen to a whole nother group. They didn't win because it's an ongoing struggle, but they kind of reached a place where it was like a hell of a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
And now they've just watched people turn and aim it at another group of people. Exactly the same stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what? In 20 years, we'll be talking about it, and it'll be another group of people. We'll be saying, well, they're trying to
It
turn
does
our
make you
kids, and we
wonder,
shouldn't
and this
expose them
is
to
quite
children.
conspiratorial in the sense of when things are going shit in the country, especially if you've got a corrupt government, they look for things to make people angry about, or to scare them
absolutely.
about, or to wind up the tension about, and we're seeing it at the moment, and we'll probably get onto it, feeling like it's succeeding to a degree with immigration, in particular migration.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it feels very dangerous. We know where it leads. We know the worst case scenario. And I don't know, I think there's an arrogance that we don't think we could ever reach that point. And I wouldn't say we're not far off of it, but there's worrying signs at the moment.
Let me ask you this, just while we're on the kind of the queer thing, before we shift away from
Please
it.
do.
How do you feel about this? The discussion at the moment that they're talking about introducing a law where teachers have to disclose to parents and guardians if a child is the whole debate is about gender, but let's broaden it as a subject, and let's say parents revealing, teachers being forced to reveal, because really you're damaging. From my point of view, you're damaging. If the child does not feel comfortable coming out to a parent, there's probably a reason for that. You outing them, is probably doing more harm to the child. How do you feel about it?
I honestly don't know.
Let's put it. Let me ask you this.
Because if it was anything else, I don't know what else we would say would be okay to withhold from the parent. It'd be like if the kid is genuinely scared of their parents, like they come from an abusive home or something like that, I can completely understand it. If they're from a safe home and it's just a case of they don't feel comfortable having the conversation, again, I don't know. I've never been in that situation.
Surely a kid's thing is a kid's thing. If they want to come to school and identify in a different gender, or if they have a sexuality or whatever, surely that's their business. If they were doing something wrong or damaging, right, then suddenly it's a concern.
I would argue them. I feel like that would then. Are they then living openly in school? If you know what I mean, or is it just...
I mean, obviously this discussion goes beyond that.
Yeah.
But the crux of it is if a child's coming to school and is sort of saying, please say, please use.
Yeah.
If someone who was born a female comes to school and says, please use he, him.
My concern would be, are they then not living a repressed life to a degree because they can't live openly at home?
But then, is it surely not better to, what good are we doing by telling the parents?
The approach would be for parents to, as much as possible, and where it's safe, to encourage a child to tell them themselves.
That's great, but we all know there's a lot of homophobic, queerphobic parents. By making the school, let me ask you this.
I don't know if there's an easy answer to it.
Let's say you're gay,
because it's difficult because they are a child. There must be legal things in terms of parents being entitled to know what's going on with their kid, their safety, everything like that. It's difficult.
Let me take it back. Let me ask you this. You're 14 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. At 12, you started noticing, sexual feelings and sexual frustrations and whatever. And at 13, over the last year or so, you've realised that actually where most of your peers are attracted to women, you are attracted to boys.
Yeah.
Right? You like men. And you know that your parents... it's slightly different. I'm for this hypothetical view because your parents are actually really understanding and really cool.
And I think that's why I'm struggling with it, because I haven't lived in that environment.
Let's picture that your parents are really homophobic. Whenever, talk about Sam Smith, whenever Sam Smith comes on the telly, your dad sits there for 20 minutes spewing vile abuse at the general queer community and says it's fucking, it's ridiculous, it's being shoved down our throats and it's all, it's wrong and it's disgusting, blah, 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 right? How would you feel that you go to school and you're quite open with it because you're like, listen, this is me, this is who I am, I've made my peace with it, but, until I can move out from under my mum and dad's roof.
Yeah.
How would you feel then if the law said that a teacher now has to tell your really homophobic dad?
Not great. The problem is, if it was private between the teacher and the student, and that student then, it sounds messed up because I'd be like, I feel like it would get back to the parents anyway if they're living it openly in school.
Well, they might get rumours of it.
Yeah.
In which, and let's say that.
But
let's
then
say,
I think
let's
that
say
puts
your
them in a
dad's-
dangerous
Let's
position
say your
as
dad
well.
gets a rumour that you're gay,
Yeah.
and he comes in your room and he lets you know in no uncertain terms that if you
Well,
are,
that's not okay.
I'm going to beat it out of you.
Yeah.
And then the school, suddenly the next day a law's
Oh,
passed. I
by
know
the
that's
way,
not how
he's
laws
gay.
work, but suddenly the next day a law's
Yeah.
passed and the teacher is now obliged by law, by contract, to phone up your dad and say,
Do you think teachers are
He's
actually
gay.
going to follow through with it though?
I hope not.
Mm.
If anything's ever passed, I flipping well hope not, because
How close
I
is
am
it
and
to
so
being
vehemently
passed?
opposed. It's just being discussed. It's
Okay.
really just. But I just thought, well, we're on the queer thing.
The
Let
thing
me
is,
put it
it's
to you.
difficult because I completely agree with you in everything that you're saying, but then you've got the other side of it of what a parent's legal rights are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think, like I said, I think a kid being a kid and a kid being under the protection, for want of a better word,
Yeah.
of their parents. Your parents don't know everything about you when you were like 12, 13, 14. My parents didn't know everything about me. You think I was getting on the
To
internet
be
and showing
honest
them all
with you,
my
I
fucking
just don't
porn
think I
history?
was up to much back then.
Do you think I was out there saying, come and have a look, let me show you what I've been downloading, right? These are my magazines. There's loads of shit my mum
There
and dad
was an
didn't know
awkward
about
moment
me.
about porn being downloaded to the computer and
Yeah, no,
having to
we've-
confess to parents.
But, you know, there was stuff my parents didn't know about me.
No, of course.
So, you know, what right do they have to know everything about me? They will know
Mm.
what I share with them.
I think for me, where I'm struggling with it is, as you said at the start, that's not the upbringing I had. And like, there wasn't anything I didn't feel I could talk to my parents about growing up in general, and including my dad, no matter what it was really. So it's hard for me to I know it's going to sound ridiculous that a parent wouldn't ultimately accept their child. I know they don't. I know there's
Yeah,
parents
they
out there
don't.
that don't. And I think this is the problem with laws. What would work for one child might not be what works for another. Do you know what I mean?
Also, you know, to kind of bring it back, no, I'm personally, I don't think it works at
But
all.
then I also don't
go for it.
understand why the parent doesn't necessarily, unless the kid's in danger, or do you know what I mean? They don't necessarily need to be told, I guess.
Exactly. That's my
Yeah.
point. You don't know what you're putting
Mm.
that child back into by sending them back
What's
home to
the justification that's being given for?
it's all this transphobia saying, like, you know, our kids are being indoctrinated and I need to know if my child's being harmed,
Right.
as if gender nonconformity is a harmful thing
Yeah.
that happens to your child, that isn't just who your child is, that actively happens to your child.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
It's a very queer heavy episode. Should we move slightly aside?
Please do. Have you got
Because there's a lot
any,
of phobias. Yeah, have you got the car crash?
Oh, I've got to find it, bro. Why'd you do
Have
this
you got
to
the
me?
car crash? Why
You
don't
need
you
to
have it
like
ready?
sign it to me, even though I can't.
Yeah,
read
do you know
lips.
what? I should have a little board and I should just tick them off.
There you go. I've
From one
turned the
phobia
car.
to another, let's talk about racism.
Oh wow. Okay. Talk to me, Jake.
Right, first of all, which ethnicities are your top 5 and bottom 5?
I absolutely
No.
have a top one.
Okay, I wanted to talk about at some point in some capacity the pub in Essex, the White Lion or whatever it's called. I know it's not called that. I just thought it was a really good racist name for a pub.
Yeah.
The one that, I mean, you know,
They had I nearly said it. Had racist,
Racist dolls.
dolls. I nearly fucking said it.
I know you did. I know you did.
I didn't even think.
Just thank God you edit it and you could bleep
I
that
mean,
out
look,
if you
people
wanted.
see that I just self-edited it in the episode. I'm not going to that effort for these people. I didn't say it. No, by these, oh, fuck me.
You needed it again. You needed it again.
By these people, I mean the people listening to this episode. I was not inferring anything else. Fuck, Jesus.
Would you like me to say
What
it?
were you asking me?
I just, to tell the story, set it up for the people that might not have heard
so there
the
was
story.
a pub where where the owners were putting up racist dolls that everyone knows
Quite
what
a
they're
large
called.
collection.
A large collection all over their pub, and was surprised when they found out it was a problem.
Yeah, but, and basically, the whole reason it blew up was the police said to him, look, I think it's under the Equalities Act, I genuinely can't remember, but it's basically that part of the law is about creating, and as it should be, creating safe spaces for people in public space, right? And or even in private spaces, but creating safe spaces for people of all everything, genders, ethnicities, all that, right? All that rubbish.
Yeah, all that jargon.
And the police said to them, they said, you need to take these down. And they went, no. And the police came back because there were more reports about people not being welcome, black people not being welcome there. And they kind of said, look, under this act, you need to take them down, or we will come back and we will take them down for you. Yeah. We don't want it. And as far as I'm aware, the police pretty much put it off as long as they could, because they kind of, without ever actually saying the words, I think the vibe was like, we really don't want to fucking come and confiscate some fucking toys. Yeah. But for the love of God, take them down. Take them down. But let me guess, they refused? They refused. The police came in and confiscated the toys. And then the Home Secretary did an interview and said, what a pathetic waste of our police's time dealing with woke rubbish. And that's what she called it, woke. It's like, she's racist, anti-racism. We know she's racist. Anti-racism, woke, the woke disease.
We know Braverman's racist.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is the thing. So then she did it, and it became this whole story. Yeah. And I just wanted to ask you, and obviously I've just said how it became a story, but why was it a story? It went on for about 2 weeks.
I don't know if I have an answer to that. I think these people love being martyrs. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Particularly to the woke cause.
You know, and they'll be like, look, we would... Because I think the argument I read somewhere was about that they're a representation of the miners or something ridiculous, the dolls.
Brilliant.
And I was just like, oh, come on, man.
Oh, and it got...
like,
it got better though, didn't it?
Did it?
Because they had they had all the papers come down, take photos, post, whatever. And one of them, I think it was The Guardian, pointed, like, they all do their research. Some of them, the ones who were at least trying to be journalists, do. Yeah. And they went, the woman was like, "We're not racist. Like, we just collect toys." And she went,
"Racist toys."
She went, "Well, that's interesting." She said, "Because why is there a picture here of your husband wearing a Britain First shirt?" And genuinely, I'm not making this up. She said, No, he's not racist, and he's not like Britain First. He just didn't have another shirt that day. So once he went rummaging through the racist lost and found, like the KKK's box by the door. He was
just walking around the local high street begging for shirts, and someone just happened to give him a Britain First one.
It's not like PE at the KKK where it's like, well, you better rummage in the box then, haven't you, son? See what's in there.
Getting the lost and found.
And then the journalist was like, okay, well, that's interesting, because here he is next to one of the prominent Britain First member. And this woman was like, no.
And here's him in a KKK outfit.
No, you've got it all wrong. And you couldn't make it up. When she turned around and said, I mean, it's well worth looking up the actual quote, but her turning around and being like, no, he just threw on a shirt, do you know what I mean? Yeah, he didn't.
Here's him at a rally.
Why did, I think you've ignored the point there, my dear. Why did he have a British First shirt?
Yeah. The problem is, there is... I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a decent size of just racist people in this country that I think, I don't even know if they know they're racist, because I think they start to believe their own delusions of, like, they have this mythical idea of what our country used to be like at some point, whether they were around for it or not. And all they see now, and I get it, look, sometimes you can feel like you're surrounded by different languages, people you don't recognise, makes you feel uncomfortable. Well, you deal with it, you get on with it, you accept it, and you embrace people. What you don't do is put racist toys up in your pub like an absolute prick. And then sit there and be like, oh, we're just doing it to represent the minor. No, you're not, you silly slag. You're a racist whore.
For me, it's like, have you seen that? Is it, is the guy's name Eric Andre, I think, the American comedian? And there's like this meme that's been him, where he's in like a chat show setup, and he turns around and shoots someone, and then he's like, why would someone do this? And it's like, the whole thing is like, well, what do you mean? All that. Yeah. I'm not going to explain the meme, but I feel like that's very much like this, because obviously the issue is absolutely that they had racist dolls, but the bigger issue is they sort of went, the police actually very kindly requested at first and said, this is actually breaking the law. You
Yeah.
need to take it down. And they went, nope. And then they said, you really, really need to take it down. They went, nope. And then the police took it and they went, why would they do this? And it's like, what do you mean, why would they do this? They fucking told you why. They did it because you didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you could be more, you can't break the law. And then the police say, do you know what? Can you maybe not murder someone? And you go, no, I might. And they go, no, seriously though, could you not murder someone? They murder you, and then you act like a martyr and go, I don't know why the police are targeting me.
Yeah.
Why are they arresting me? I don't
in
know.
all of this.
Yeah, I don't know why they're bloody wokies.
I think the
It's like,
reason
no, you broke the law.
the reason they do this is because time and time again, and it works, when things are going shit again for a corrupt government, they just pick at things that they know are going to get people talking, that will get people arguing, because there are stupid old pricks that live in this country that see that story and go, oh, they just owned a pub. They're just a couple. You know, they didn't mean anything by it.
Cue up the car crash, my man, because I'm about to take another. Being out of touch and thinking that you can distract the people with a divisive tactic.
Yeah.
Did you see the Loose Women's deleted poll?
No.
Loose Women put out
I
a poll.
heard they were getting cancelled or something.
I don't know about that, but they put out a poll on Twitter, ready for their next show kind of thing. And they said, do you think protests should be banned?
Right.
98% of people said no.
Mm.
The poll was only up for like 2 hours or something, but thousands of people voted. It was overwhelmingly obvious that no, people support bans. They support protests.
Yeah.
They might not like them and they might moan about them, but fundamentally, as a democratic
We're
right,
on board with it.
the British public agree with the right to.
Yeah.
And they deleted it really quick. And from the fact they deleted it, it seemed to me like you wanted a nice divisive topic that you could get people going on.
Because the thing is, the truth is, what gets clicks now isn't.
No, it's division.
Yeah, it's people arguing in a clip. It's someone saying something outrageous. It's
all the people that are still on strikes. The support for strikes has not wavered.
No.
Support for strikes is still strong.
But like what all the media focus on, what all the clips are of strikes and stuff is Mick Lynch being debated by some knobhead on TV or showing up fucking Richard Madeley, who's a complete thundercunt.
He is a twat.
I can't stand that man. He's everything that's wrong with television.
Although he has really made me laugh once. Laugh at him, just to be clear. But when he was like, are you rich? And the woman was like, that's a really inappropriate question to ask. He's like, well, no, man, it's not. I'm just asking you. She's like, well, are you? And he went, yeah, I'll do all right. Yeah.
I'm comfortable.
And it's like, you're fucking such a bellend.
Yeah. No, I can't stand Richard Madeley.
No, not a fan.
But no, they're just doing over and over again what they always do. It's like everyone just wants clicks. The thing is, what they also want is people arguing in that poll in the comments. Do you know what I mean? They want interaction. They then want that'll get people to tune in the next day and watch whoever they've got on it now.
But speaking of strikes, if anyone's looking for somewhere to park
honestly,
for the King's coronation,
what they need is to get me and you on there.
Oh man,
I'll be Big Daddy Big.
Yes, and I'll just be present.
I'll be kicked off within 5 minutes because I'm just going to go in misogynistic hard to alienate their entire audience.
But Andrew Tate's fans will love you.
Do you know what?
We'll find a new fan base.
Could you imagine?
It's not one I want, but
I was going to say, after, like, how far back would they go before they went, wait a second.
These guys are woke.
They're misogynistic, but they also believe in socialism. What the fuck is this?
Have you seen the video? There's a video online of a bloke who went to an anti-abortion, an anti-abortion rally in America, and he's like, yeah, boo! I hate women. They shouldn't be able to decide their bodies. It's ridiculous. Women are crazy. They don't know what they're doing and whatever. And the guy's like, mate, you don't belong here. And he's like, no, I'm one of you. I also hate women.
Yeah.
He's just really getting into them, really getting under their skin.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be us there. We'd be like, no, we hate women. We're cool. But yeah, if anyone's looking for somewhere to park during the coronation, it's going to be busy. You can park anywhere. Parking attendants, or whatever they're called, wardens, going on strike for the King's coronation
weekend. Is that traffic wardens?
Traffic wardens, that's the term. And on the King's coronation
they're not managing traffic, bro.
No, but they're just ticketing people for parking, aren't they?
What are they called? It's not traffic, though. They're not ticketing people on the road.
Yeah, but if you park like a dick, you do obstruct traffic. You do create traffic.
Yeah, but most parking wardens are just going, or traffic wardens are just going around car parks, mate.
Either way, just want to be clear. They are on strike for the King's coronation.
I did see.
Park where you want.
Are we going to do a coronation special?
We should. I'll park outside.
Outside where?
In the road.
Okay.
I ain't going to get a ticket, am I?
Are you not?
Not that weekend.
No?
No.
Oh, yeah, because they're all off.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Park where I want.
Just park on the high street somewhere.
I'm going to put... This is going to make me sound so pathetic and old. But I'm going to park in so many places.
That you can never get
I am going to park...
Just on a roundabout.
I am tempted to drive up into central London and just park in the most fucking outrageous place.
Outside the gates of Buckingham Palace.
Oh, I'm just going to drive up the Mall and just sort of like pull up and be like, I'm leaving it here, mate. What you can do?
Is the Mall the long road that goes
Yeah,
to
the Pall Mall. Equally, though, I do feel like the police presence...
is going to be quite...
Yeah, I might get tackled. I might get tased.
You might get shot.
Especially if I imagine, I mean, the audacity.
If you want to seal the deal, roll down your window and just scream, Allahu Akbar.
I mean, I'd never get anywhere near it. But I would love to sort of like get behind the procession and just start beeping. Roll down the window and be like, come on, mate, got
like in
places
the
to be.
in-betweeners in the funeral procession.
King Charles there giving the wave, Camilla giving the wave.
You're
I'm like, fucking come on, mate, you prick, put your foot down, fucking bellend. It's 30. It's 30. Get close to it. Come on. Fucking horsepower you got, you prick. Two horsepower. I would love it. Love it. And then at that point, I'd be like, oh, fuck it. I'll walk.
But people
I'm
still
parking
wouldn't
here.
watch the podcast, would they?
No, they'd watch that, though.
Yeah.
They'd watch that.
Do you think you'd die?
Probably.
Yeah.
At the hands of the police.
Yeah.
Probably.
Or the secret, like, I reckon there's like a secret agency that looks after the monarch.
Do you think?
I reckon they've got like an elite group. I reckon there's some dude there that you don't even know he's there.
Is he here now?
He might be.
I've
You've just threatened the king.
I've immediately made him sound like an imaginary friend, haven't I? Is he in the room with us? Could you ask him if he wants a drink?
We need a Ouija board for that.
Yeah, well, that's a bit camp.
It's just your style.
Apparently so.
What about Gay running?
Oh, Raheem Sterling running. He does run a bit. He's very camp running, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like all hands. I mean, fair enough, what do you do with your hands? But he's like... Okay, you see, you dancing doesn't do anything for the pod. For an audio spectacle...
This is a video podcast, so people want to get all the action. They need to go on YouTube and watch it.
I'm just very, very sorry for Leanne that's all the action.
That's not all the action, bro. You've seen some.
You hold some back. You say, okay, you're not bringing it all to the pod.
You've seen me hit a stripper pole.
I have seen you hit it. I've been on a stripper pole with you.
I know. We tag teamed it.
I loved a stripper pole.
Me too.
Like, genuinely.
Honestly, on a night out, if you got me drunk
in.
enough, I remember going... We went to a friend's engagement party. An ex-friend, sorry, I should say.
Oh, that pricks loads of drinks.
Does it?
That's a separate thing. That's my own gripe.
Wow, still holding on to it.
Yeah, because fuck him. He just... No, right, let's just settle this. No, do you know what? You do your thing and then I'll moan.
We went to his engagement party and we went into the club and it was empty and I was already shit-faced and I just remember all of a sudden there was like 3 or 4 other women that saw a random bloke on the stripper pole and were like, we're joining in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but fuck that guy.
No, absolutely.
He just walked up. I was at the bar. I just got to the bar. And he looked up, he was like, all right. I was like, yeah, you're all right. And he was like, oh, are you getting around? And I was like, yeah, because I think I was getting one for me, you, and probably Ash. Probably was Ash.
He was there.
And I was like, I was just getting around for us 3. And he was just like, oh, right, okay, I'm drinking this. And because I was already quite drunk at that point.
That is a dick move.
I wasn't my usual self to tell him to fuck off. I just sort of did it. And the processing was really slow. Yeah. And it was only as I was probably about halfway through that drink that it suddenly dawned on me that it was like, fucking pricks just had a drink off me. And I was like, I'm getting one off him by the end of the night. Yeah. Never got one.
What a bastard.
So he fucking owes me a drink. I'll be 90 hounding him down for that fucking drink.
Do you feel better now?
No, because I don't have a drink. I'm down a drink. I'm down a drink.
Right, you ready for another car break?
Yes.
It's football orientated, and we're not going to have a deep dive because obviously our football correspondent Ash isn't here or on the line either. We haven't had him just sat here for an hour Could you imagine if I'd done that?
Yes, that'd be great.
We're going to get to football at some point, I promise. Just got to keep you on hold on the line.
For 45 minutes.
You get to experience the podcast.
How long are we running now?
Coming up for 55 minutes.
Brilliant.
Could you imagine?
Brilliant. Okay, Ash, be quick, though, 'cause we're nearly on the hour.
Stick on me, miss double. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Be quick, mate. We're running out.
I wanted to talk about Wrexham.
Yes.
Is the circus around it a good or bad thing?
For Wrexham and the National League, I think it's a good thing.
What about the money they're spending?
That's silly money. They're spending League One money on a National League budget.
Yeah. And they're not and they've done that, and they're not they're in a tight title race at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
They'll go up now. I think they'll win against.
I think they go up, but they haven't done it by 30 points. Do you know what I mean?
To be fair, I looked back, so I was like, I wonder how many teams have passed 100 points in the National League. About 5 in the last 10 since 2000.
But
in the last
again,
12
I'd hope
seasons.
so. Spending the money they're spending,
But
they've got Ben Foster, who last year was playing in the Premier League.
But all of those 5 teams that scored 100 points had like a 20 point gap between the team below them.
Haven't Notts County done it with them as well? They're on quite a lot of points.
Yeah, because I was like, 2 teams in one season. How many teams have ever even got 100? So I just looked back 10 years, and it was like, okay, but they all had like a 20 point gap between them or a 30 point gap between them and the team below.
But it's quite widely speculated. I mean, Ben Foster said he's on peanuts going there. I don't know what peanuts means to him. But there's rumours he's on anywhere from 10 to 15 grand a week, which if that is true, I know it's only for 6 games, but it's fucking obscene for that level. And I'd be amazed if they don't try and keep him next season. And even then, his money will be astronomically large for that division.
What do you think? Good or bad?
As you know, love what they've been doing. I've loved the documentary. I love everything about it, but I'm uncomfortable with the money they're spending because it's setting a precedent that's very dangerous for that level of football, because we've seen Bury go out of business. We've seen
suddenly to compete, other teams have got to bankrupt themselves.
Yeah. Or they get these half interested billionaires like you get in big teams, or not even a billionaire, but someone with 100 million to waste, and they end up wasting it and going, oh, well, I'll just take all my money out of the club, and the club goes bust.
Yeah.
And that's what concerns me about it.
I will never financially recover from this. Say about a dozen clubs every other year, kind of thing.
Yeah.
If that, yeah.
And the thing is, because but what I've liked about Wrexham, because I saw their financial results for the last year, they have managed to bring in an obscene amount of money.
Yeah.
But it's sort of fake money.
Yeah, because it's money from them. It's the documentary money.
It's not just from them, because they have genuinely, but they wouldn't have made the other money that isn't just from them if they weren't there.
But
it's
sponsorship money. It's also sponsorship money from.
They're sponsored by TikTok.
Yeah, and I was going to say they're kind of other companies that are putting money in this to kind of get little bits of sponsorship and stuff are companies that they own. The production company that does the documentary is Rob McElhenney. I watched the video. It's his production company. So there's kind of it's a bit Barcelona-esque. It's like, we're going to get money in from outside sources, but the outside sources are us. Yeah. So we're going to cycle money around.
What I would like to say for any Wrexham fan listening, if we happen to have one listening, if any, is I don't think any of these bad things about Rob and Ryan, because I think their intentions are genuinely what they say they are.
They get the community. They get the.
I think they have, from what I've heard, Ryan Reynolds has just bought a £2.5 million house.
Yeah, just
not
up the
far
road
from Wrexham. It's look, they clearly invested their long term. And you don't put this sort of money behind it like they have, and taking the amount of hits they have financially if they weren't invested in this.
Rob McElhenney started learning Welsh and went and spoke at the Welsh.
He's going
Assembly
to political events and shit.
Yeah,
isn't he?
Exactly.
I have no doubt in my mind they are in it for the long term.
Yeah.
But it worries me that
the precedent it sets for other clubs,
because of the attention it's had, it opens up clubs to bad actors. Basically, that's all that concerns me.
Yeah.
And clubs like Wrexham, we've seen through the documentary how big the club actually is in its community, how much it means.
And Wrexham,
for a team like that to go out of existence,
if anyone's watched the documentary or not, you'll know they bought the club off of the fans. It was in fan ownership.
Yes.
Because of the because of what's the finance
Because
of football.
they had one of these
Actually-
shitty owners.
Well, actually, quite a lot of the clubs in the National League and the leagues below it, the National League North and the National League South, quite a lot of clubs in that are fan owned
Yeah.
because they had shitty owners and because
Yeah.
so it is
They've
Yeah.
hit the jackpot, the Wrexham fans.
because they could have picked anyone.
Yeah. And they've chosen Wrexham. I think what got them it was the stadium. The fact it was the
Oldest
international
international stadium.
still in use, yeah. And I think that was probably one of the bits that put them over the edge of perhaps other teams.
Until they saw it and saw they needed to spend like 4 million quid or something to
But do you
get
know
a new
what?
stand built.
Everything that I've seen of what they've got planned, what they want to achieve, it's amazing.
But they need promotion
Well, yeah.
financially, just
The
because
problem is,
their outgoings are so high.
How do you think they'll reach the Premier League at some stage?
Honestly, if they do, they're, I would say, well over 10 years from it.
Because look, in their
Because
dream
it's a
scenario,
it's
it's going to
Premier
be
League. But the fact is, the jump from the National League to Football League, in terms of the standard
yeah,
and what you have to do, your stadium has to be a certain level. There's just the quality of football. It's a big jump,
yeah.
and a lot of teams do struggle with it. I think they'll probably cope with that, just because they can just buy in players. But then again, I think League One to Championship is a huge jump. Very few teams go from League One to Championship and stay.
Yeah.
And
Let alone go on to the
and
Premier
then
League.
to compete at the top of the Championship, I think you've got to do. You can't just invest in a couple of squads and
gotta
get
be
there.
everything.
You've got to really go all in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be from the academy to the training ground to the
I think
stadium.
they are probably
everything.
If it does happen, they're at least a decade away. Do you think they'll make it?
No,
It's a big ask.
no, I don't.
There are
think they will.
92 professional
reason
teams,
I
and they're
think
not one of them
They've
yet.
set themselves a dangerous precedent by what they've done, in the sense of the wages they're paying players, the way they're overpaying for
Well,
players.
it's an interesting thing. Yeah, if they're paying
To
League
be
One,
able to sign Paul Mullins, for example, who at the time I think was playing for Cambridge, was it?
that might have been yeah. Ollie Palmer was at Wimbledon, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
Ollie Palmer's another one, but Paul Mullin was playing in, I think, League Two.
Yeah, he's
and
Cambridge's
he scored
top scorer.
30 goals, didn't he, in
Yeah.
the season? There is no way on God's green earth. Now, they spin it in the show that it was more to do with
him coming home
for-
and
I'm sorry, I don't buy that.
money,
Definitely played a part. It's a happy side effect.
and he
of
does
being
look
offered
look
five.
genuinely comfortable. there,
Without
like
a
his
doubt, I
family
think
life,
he
no
loves
doubt.
being there. I think he's bought into it. All of that's fair. But the reason he went there was because he was being offered over
No, but
£5
begs
a week to
it
play
begs
in
the
the
question,
conference.
If you're paying League One money to compete in the National
What are you
League,
going to pay when you're
when
in
you
League
get to
One?
League Two, what have you
what
got to
a player's
pay?
gonna
When you get to
demand?
League
That's
One,
what
what
I'm
have you got to
saying.
play? No, I think you're
I
absolutely
don't think
right.
they can. Well, the only argument to them scaling it is if they can continue to grow the fan base they're developing around the world, getting people in. Like Wrexham's been on ESPN in America. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
regularly. Like that's
And
massive.
the fan,
That's unheard of. That is a good thing. But the National League's going to get forgotten about next season when they're in
Yeah.
League Two. That hasn't done anything for the National League.
I mean,
All it's done is make some players perhaps think that they can start demanding silly money.
financially, again, I think the biggest jump is from the Championship to the Premiership in terms of player wages. And
I think as soon as you enter the Championship,
forget
you're
City,
entering
Liverpool, United.
ex-Premier League territory.
just looking at like Palace, Southampton, West Ham, Forest, those
Mm.
kind of team, the wages they're playing their players generally compared to the Championship are a lot higher.
Look, I think it's mad for Palace, for example. Like Will Zaha, I love him, and I'd love for him to stay at Palace, but not for $200,000 a week on a 3 or 4 year deal.
No.
Let him go. That does not make sense, and why you would even offer it to him, I don't understand.
My biggest criticism of Palace in terms of that stuff, I've said it to you before, is that we never get any money for our players. We squeeze them for all
we
their
should
worth.
have sold Zaha by now.
And
we
we're
shouldn't
like,
be in a position.
No,
where
one more
he's-
year, and then the contracts run out and they go off on a free.
Yeah.
So
and the
we're
thing
down
is-
players and we haven't got any money
Yeah.
for them.
No.
We need to start. I'm not. Listen, I know
Look,
our
we've
two
got
biggest
players
prospects right
like-
now. I don't want to sell them. Please don't sell them.
No, but if we were going to, it's in the next 2 to 3 years.
If someone came in with like 60
silly
million
money. Yeah.
for either of them,
Well,
I'd have to say.
I think me, you, and Ash talked about this, and I said, for me, it makes no sense selling someone like Elise for less than 40.
no, if Anthony Gordon, I'll tell you now, if Anthony Gordon's worth 40 or 45,
Then he's
whatever
worth
he went,
50, 60.
Elise's worth 60.
Yeah.
And I know I've got my Palace goggles on. I know
No,
that.
look, he's being linked with bigger teams already because of the performances he has put in, and because actually this season, even though he hasn't set the world alight, what we didn't see last season was the defensive aspect of his game, and that is definitely something he's
Also,
improved upon.
in assists, he's. I know you're putting on filters on it and being like, where is he in the? Where is he in the assist? Well, for under 21, but for under 21s, he's only behind Saka.
Yeah,
and I think that's in the country.
Yeah.
Raksaki's probably got. Oh no, Raksaki's more of a goal scorer now. But anyway.
But again, that makes me feel like the good thing Roy Hodgson's done since he's come in for me is show me that there's life after Zaha for Palace. Do you know what I mean? Like we've got Elise, we've got Eze. Somehow Ayew still looks like he can do something. Every time I've written that man off, he suddenly just comes back alive.
I had an interesting chat with a Bundesliga fan over the weekend who said that he said I love my team and I love the way German football is run, and he was like, I do really enjoy it. He said, but in terms of because of the money and the money that you guys have got, he said, in all seriousness, he says Palace, he says, where are you in your league? You're like nowhere. He was a bit drunk. He was like, nowhere. Yeah. No, I don't mean nowhere. No, I'm not. I don't. But you're not going up.
Or in no man's land.
You're not going down.
We're 12th.
He said, you in the Bundesliga. He says you finish 5th.
Mm.
You take that team, you put them in the Bundesliga, you finish 5th. Yeah, it's just an interesting comparison to from his perspective.
The thing is,
Premier
I don't think
League
he's
to
wrong.
Other leagues.
At the start of the season, I genuinely felt we have a strong team. We have said for the last 3 years, it feels like, or maybe even longer, since Aaron Wan-Bissaka left Palace, we've been saying we need a replacement, and it looks like his replacement is Aaron Wan-Bissaka,
that's the really
which is
long
the hilarious
game. It's the Steve Parish long game.
It's like he went, it's fine, guys. He'll be back at some point.
Fact is, the tactic worked with Zaha. We sold him to United for a certain amount of money
cheaper.
And then got him back cheaper, so we made a profit.
Part of that deal, though, is why we've never sold him.
Yeah, because they get money.
They get over a quarter of the
they get like 20. I think it's just a quarter in that. I think it's just 25%.
Like but while we're on the subject of Palace, I didn't plan on
Palace, we were talking about Wrexham.
What
I wanted to do was I wanted to let everyone know that a Bundesliga fan told me that Palace would finish 5th in the Bundesliga, and I kind of just wanted to get it out there and brag.
But we look like a completely fucking different team.
Confidence.
I remember saying to you, my main issues, because me, you and Ash discussed Vieira leaving, whether it was the right decision, and I felt. Definitely is now.
I think if you go back, I said it was getting Roy in was probably the best decision the club would ever made. I think if you go back, I'm almost certain that's what I said. It's
absolutely not what we said. Both of us.
No, I'm pretty certain it is.
Both of us couldn't believe what was happening. Look, to be honest with you, part of me still thinks it might have been I don't buy into the attitude that we'd have had the exact same results with Vieira. I don't think that's true because.
We didn't have a shot on target for 3 games.
What we've seen under Roy, which by the way, I don't think, we haven't ever seen under Roy. It's almost like he's gone, do you know what? If I play this just right, I can give me another year.
Was it you I said this to, or was it Ash I was having this conversation with? Where I said that the thing with Roy now is, I might have even been someone else, but I said the thing with Roy now is it's a no-lose situation. If he comes in and we go down,
both of us,
and then we go down. So what? They'll blame it on Vieira.
Yeah.
If he comes in and we do well,
it's all on him.
Doesn't matter because he's not the long-term replacement. No. So it's kind of like for the first time because he's been like keep us up, and now
do you think
it's kind of like gloves are off and he can just do what he wants? And all he's just come in and said to the guys is, look,
go out there and enjoy yourselves.
We will defend from the back, and you forward players go and be forward players.
Like Eze,
filth.
I
love that boy.
I've always loved him, genuinely. But I remember saying to you and Ash, under Vieira, we missed what it felt like to me was Gallagher. The role he performed last season, he was involved in everything from the defensive work to the goal that was being scored.
He was proper box to box.
He was a phenomenal player for us. I think he's been so for Chelsea, but I think that's more to do with how shit Chelsea are than.
We should dedicate a whole episode to Todd Bowley.
We're going to have to talk about him at some point. We might have to do a double record with Ash at some point and be can we talk about what happened just with Chelsea this season and just go through it? Just but what were we talking about?
We were talking about, you were about to say that Ez has become a box-to-boxer a little bit.
But under Vieira, it felt like there was zero creativity, and I was like, I just don't understand it, because you look at the players that we have.
You got Eza. You got Eza right there, right there.
And then, but he wasn't even starting under Vieira, was he? Or he was rarely starting.
No.
And when he did play under Vieira,
Played on the wing or something.
He didn't look like him.
No,
Do you know what I mean?
I can honestly say that it looks, from the first game they played, and I realised part of it, it's not the opposition. Look, they looked more confident. They looked freer. They did. I can't deny that.
Yeah. But it's been interesting because we didn't really know what was going on at Palace, did we, behind the scenes? And more stuff's come out. I don't actually know what's happened, but apparently something happened at the Christmas party that proper alienated Vieira from the team, which would make sense because this calendar year until the last 3 games,
it's been shocking.
There's been shit. So I think he lost the dressing room at Christmas, basically.
Yeah, I believe it.
But yeah, do you think there's any chance Parish gives him a longer deal?
The only way is if he can't find
anyone else. But like, who are we being linked with at the moment? Because I've heard there's a German guy from Mönchengladbach. He's not their current manager, but
yeah, but didn't that then get?
No, but then I saw it's now
deleted, and it was like debunked kind of thing or whatever. Not debunked, but it was like, oh, now we're not so sure about that. It was like some German press were talking about it, and then suddenly they were like, I don't know.
But what we can take away from this conversation is that Chelsea should have absolutely 100% appointed Hodgson.
Yeah. It's like, do you know what? Have you seen as well? Have you seen that video of the guy at Seattle? When
I love the fact that the rumours are that Lampard more or less turned Palace down.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
And
I love it.
We've now ended up in this situation where, you know.
Yeah. No, I've seen one of those, you know, the Lampard meetings where he's like laughing and then he's serious. I saw one of them was like, you know, making jokes. And he's like, no, but I should have gone to Palace though. Have you seen the video of the Seattle guy with the mic when he's like crazy and he's like, let's go Seattle.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's go Seattle. I saw that and it was like Tom Bowley when he enters the dressing room.
But yeah, it's not gone well for Chelsea, but there's too much.
They should have known how shit it was going to be when he didn't know that Chelsea don't automatically qualify for the Champions League every year.
Yeah.
That should have been it. That it was like, red flag, fuck me, this bloke doesn't know what he's doing.
I think what...
He asked, according to reports, he asked James Corden who he should replace as manager.
The thing is, what worried me, what set alarm bells off in my head, was that when he bought the club, all the current executives were like, right, you've got no one in place for any of the jobs, have you? And he was like, no. Would you like us to stay on until you find replacements? Yeah. You know, we won't cause any problems. We'll step
just
aside
keep the club ticking over. We'll just
until you get the people you need in charge. No, just got rid of everyone.
Yeah,
and they, you know,
it's been chaos ever since. Yeah. But also, like, I know that James Corden gets a lot of hate, but you ask James Corden, a West Ham fan, if you ask me, a Palace fan, if he came to me and said, you know, Jake, I don't know who I'm going to put in. Who should I go for? I'm hearing a lot of good stuff.
Chelsea for him.
But I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about this Frank Lampard. I'd go, yeah, Chelsea legend, definitely. I think he's a really good manager. You should definitely get him in. How many games has he won? I don't worry about it. I think winning games is sometimes, you know, it's a bit misconstrued.
And now people are making the joke that he's fine with what's going on at the moment because he's convinced he's going to get a better pick in the draft.
But it's like, yeah, the problem is, I'd sell him up the river.
It's one of those where I don't know what to believe about what I've heard, because I've heard the story about him being in a meeting where someone was like, yeah, but financial fair play. And he was like, yeah, but we qualify for the Champions League every year.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Then they said, well, no, Todd, you actually don't. And then he left the room for 40 minutes and then came back and was like, right, okay.
I apologise. Yeah, because they were like, because they said, not only do you not, you know, no, you don't, but they also said, where you are at the moment in the league, you probably won't get there on merit. Yeah, if I was James Corden, like I said, they'd be like, who's to hire? I'd be like, there's this fella,
David Moyes,
Mike Bassett, really top manager, really top.
Glenn Hoddle.
God, that would be. I mean, just think of
Sol
every
Campbell. I'd put Sol Campbell in
manager that's never done well. I'll tell you, there's this chap, Gary Neville. Okay, get him in. Trust me.
I actually don't think he'd take it.
And Chelsea fans love him. It's a win-win, Todd. Go for it, mate.
I think that's actually a job Gary Neville. I actually don't think Gary Neville would ever step back, unless it was Man United, and even then, I don't think he would.
Just Steven Gerrard. If you can't get Frank, Stevie G's your man.
Yeah.
Trust me. And again, Chelsea fans love him. Honestly,
Yeah.
they sing his name quite regularly. You know, don't matter what they sing.
He won him a title.
Yeah, he helped them win a league.
Yeah.
They're big fans.
Yeah.
They're big fans. Okay, trust me.
Yeah.
There's your replacement.
Plus, he did want to play for them. So,
but would you, if Todd Bowley came to you and said, who should I replace? What would you do? Would you be really honest and put your mind to it and try and say,
I'd see it as an opportunity to
you?
become a millionaire. I'd help him run the football club.
I think I'd love to, but my football fan...
I would be the director of football at Chelsea Football Club. I've got no shame in saying
my
that.
football fan comes out and it's like, fuck Chelsea, I'm going to fuck these guys up.
No, mate,
I'm going to ruin their
first thing I'm doing, Eze, mate, get on the fucking blower, buy Eze, sell Enzo, sell Mudryk.
You're dead. You're
get
dead
Eze.
to me. You're dead to me. The fact
Mate,
you would rob us.
Mate, if he's
from
paying
Chelsea.
120 million for Mudryk, I'm getting Palace some good money. Do you know what I mean?
I want 100 mil.
I think you're pushing it.
I don't think I am. I've seen Todd Bowley.
What we'll do, we'll structure it in a way where Palace gets something like, I don't know, 50 up front, right?
And then the rest
If
over
we
10
win
years.
but if we win the Champions League, 20 extra. Do you know what I mean? Sweeten the
I
deal.
just think we could get more out of Todd Bowley.
No, but Todd Bowley's not at the negotiating table anymore. He's handed
You're
it
on
to me.
his behalf, though.
I'm the director of football.
He signs
bro.
the checkbooks.
Yeah, but so he's not going to. I'm not going to fleece him, bro.
But are you a Palace fan or not? Do you know what I mean? Where are we drawing the line here?
I'm getting you 70 mil for Eze.
And I want 100.
We'll meet in the middle at 75.
I would love, by the way, if somehow we ended up
You've become
negotiating
yeah.
up 70 mil, 100 mil, and that's exactly how it happened. Just like we sat across the table and went, bro, fuck that guy. I want more money. And you'd be like, I don't know, he's been really good to me.
Yeah, he's paying my mortgage. I'm living in Fulham, bro.
Yeah,
I'm living in Chelsea.
I've got to have his back, and I'm like, fuck that guy. Fuck Chelsea. Give me more money.
Mate, I've got stocks. I'm incorporated. You can't do this to me.
You got stocks. Stick him in them. We'll throw things at him.
But yeah,
Well, I think we've all seen our fine business minds.
yeah.
Can't say fairer than that. We've shown you a vulnerable side of ourselves
We have.
because not a lot of people see my business side.
Look, I feel like I've been very honest over the years. I'm quite happy to sell my...
Friends down the river.
Not my friend. What are you talking about?
You'd sell us down the river.
I
For the
wouldn't.
right price, you'd sell us down the river.
Absolutely wouldn't. That's not true.
I feel like you would. I feel like if Ash were here, right, if picture Ash was here, what would he say?
I don't know. No, I wouldn't sell you down the river. What do you think?
But what would Ash say? Would Ash say that you would sell us down the
I'd
river?
like to think he wouldn't think that. Should we call him?
No, too much in it.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't want to disturb him. You can try if you want. I just ask him quickly. Ash, quick question. Do you think Big would sell us down the river?
Right. Let's turn up the old Bluetooth.
Do you want me to pad?
You don't have to. He should be at the top of my... There we go.
Pass
No,
the sex
not
lines.
that guy. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go, people. It's a live phone call.
This is not pre-planned. We've never done this.
Hello?
Ash, you are live on Crossing Swords. Please do not swear.
Or do. We're not Channel 5.
Well, this is not the ideal moment. Okay.
Jake has a question he'd like to ask you live on air.
All right, go on.
We're having a bit of a debate. I think that for the right price, Big would sell his friends down the river.
Specifically you two.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah, all day.
Thank
Oh,
you.
How can you think that
Thank
little of
you.
me, bro?
It's not even
That's not
even
cool.
a question, really.
There was no debate. That was perfect.
He didn't even
No,
hesitate.
No.
What makes you think that,
Yeah.
bro?
Of course he is.
Wow. I don't even... I'm speechless.
I've no doubt in my mind.
Wow.
That's perfect. Bro, thank you so much. That was perfect. For one of
All right,
us.
no problem.
Right.
Oh,
there's,
yeah, I mean, Big didn't come off too good, didn't it?
Yeah, he did not.
No, and this was my idea doing this. I've honestly thought Ash would have my back.
No doubt. I don't know anyone who would.
Wow.
I think most of our group
Ash, I think you're breaking up. I'm gonna have to cut the line. Right, love you, bro.
Enjoy your
Tell me
evening,
down the
sir.
river. Right, tell me.
Jake's telling me to hang up. He's doing the, cutting of the next sign. Get rid of him.
Disappointing.
What?
He's very disappointed.
If it makes you feel any better, I'd expect Jake to do the same thing.
Oh, I would.
Oh,
For the right
okay,
price,
fair
I would
enough.
say anyone down
That
the
does
river.
actually make me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, but I'm honest about it.
Yeah.
No, but I don't think I would. It
I
depends.
don't think most people in our group would.
I don't know what the offer would have to be. Do you know what I mean?
Quick, handy.
I think Alex would pay first.
Do you think?
Yeah, then it'd be Jake.
Yeah, my price wouldn't be high.
Okay.
It depends if Big's getting pain inflicted or what.
Yeah, that's true. Are you under, stress and duress?
Well, we sort of talked about, like, if you were kidnapped and tortured, how long would you last? And I was like, maybe one fingernail.
I'm not sure who would last longer out of you two.
It would absolutely be me.
Well, hang on.
No, that's true, Jake.
Well, no,
You don't even
You've been
want
told
get
to
hurt
man
about
up by doctors before.
I don't want to get hurt. I don't think that's an unreasonable request.
Yeah, so you're not going to withhold on torture, are you?
Well, I'm certainly not going to run in and sit in the chair and ask if I can go first. Oh, that'd be a power move.
And just stare them down.
Do me.
I wonder if they'll call your bluff and be like, no, this is his
We're
better shot
fucking
than
with
you."
this guy.
Oh, or just go the other way and be like, all right,
Do it.
yeah, pull my fingernails off. Oh, bro, that was
Right,
perfect.
well, this has been a
That was
pleasure, Ash. We're
perfect.
going to let you go. Thank you for being
You're
a
welcome.
legend,
Always
as
happy.
always.
Always happy to help.
Oh, loved having you, bro.
Right, love you.
Love you
I
too.
look forward
Love
to
you, bro.
listening to the pod. Ciao.
Ciao. Absolute perfection. You
I
just called him
enjoyed
up to
that.
get roasted.
I called him up as my phone a friend.
Your confidant.
My confidant.
your backup.
Immediately smacked me down in typical Ash style.
I didn't just let it rest there.
No,
Just
then
made sure you
continued.
knew you were smacked down. Know your place.
So, guys, if you'd like to smack me down as well, you could do so. Jake, tell them where they can do it.
I think, well, should I tell them where you work?
I'd rather you didn't.
They can do it at CrossingSwords19@gmail.com if you want to get a bit one-to-one.
Yeah.
You can do it on YouTube. You can just hit up the comments.
Yeah.
On Facebook, just Crossing Swords. You can hit up the comments. YouTube, by the way, a link to the video will be in the description. Wherever you get your podcast, don't forget to like it, rate it, subscribe it. You're all absolute stars for that.
Yeah.
And share it. You can also find us at CrossingSwords_podcast on Instagram and TikTok.
Yep.
And at Swords Crossing on Twitter. Have I forgotten any
No,
platforms?
that is all our
Most
socials.
probably have.
No,
I think I got it.
I think that's
I
it.
got it.
You just didn't mention our grinder page. That's all.
Yeah, but you
It's
see
at
that,
Crossing Swords.
right? I keep arranging meets.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And you keep not turning up. You keep telling me to go solo. And I just feel like we're letting people down because we're advertising ourselves as a duo, as a tag team.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going on my own.
Look, them's the breaks.
Do you know how disappointing...
I'm in demand, bro.
If someone sees a picture of the two of us, they see Big Daddy Big. Do you know how disappointed they are when they open the door and it's just me?
Yeah, and you don't play the hits.
I do not play that. I don't have any of your moves.
No.
I don't have,
You can't.
I can't do that. I'm not swinging what you're swinging.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
It's just very upsetting. People get very
Alright,
disappointed.
well, I promise I'll start showing up.
I mean,
at some
our
point.
Grinder reviews are taking a hit, if that's the thing on Grinder.
The gays are into us, though.
Do you think No, that would be a disaster, wouldn't it? If dating profiles started doing reviews.
This has never gone well.
Yeah,
Best to leave
let's
that
not
one
open that
right
up.
there.
But it's nice to end on Grinder in a
Yes.
very queer-heavy episode.
It's been a very quick
To bring it back
episode.
round.
But you know, I've enjoyed it. It's been a good conversation. We've done a long one today.
Yeah,
so,
it feels it.
so all right. So we better end it there.
I just wanted to slap you down one last time.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it as always.
It's just so perfect. I mean, less than a second. Less than a second. Perfection.
Goodbye.